my name is Andrea. I work at Mesa County Libraries, and today I would love to show you how to make a heart paracord bracelet. So the design is very subtle here, but if you look closely, we have some red hearts with black centers. If you flip it the other way around, we've got black hearts with red centers. So this is a great gift for Valentine's Day, subtle way to show someone that you love them. So let's go ahead and get started. So the supplies that you are going to need for this is one 5-foot length of paracord, another 5-foot length of paracord in a contrasting color. You're going to need scissors, a ruler, a lighter, a buckle, tape, and I highly recommend getting a hold of some needle nose pliers. As always, if you are a minor and you are wanting to work on this activity, since this does involve fire, please talk to an adult before starting this activity and get their help with it. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we're going to want to do before we get started is we need to join our two pieces of 5-foot lengths of paracord into one 10-foot length. There are many different ways to join paracord pieces. I'm going to do the very aptly named melt and mash method. This is not a particularly sturdy method, but when you're doing something decorative like a bracelet, it works great. So what I've done here is I am just trimming off the sealed ends on two of the ends of my paracord of different colors. We are now going to use our lighter to carefully melt the two paracord ends until they get all nice and melty, and then we're going to mash them together just like it says in the name. So here we go. So as you're doing this, I recommend don't actually put the flame in your paracord, like hold it just next to it so it's getting the heat exchange, but it's not actually burning. All right, we've got those nice and melty quickly. I'm gonna squish them together. I like to take my pair of scissors and use that for the mashing. When it gets all melty, it gets very hot, so don't use your bare fingers. All right, so as you can see, if I give it a little tug, it's gonna stay together. Definitely not something I would be tying something to, not the most stable connection, but it's good for our purposes. So now we have this really long 10-foot length of paracord now. All right, so the next thing that we are going to want to do is we are going to want to measure our wrist, or the wrist of the person you're making this paracord bracelet for, so that it's sized correctly to their wrist. So go ahead and take one of the ends of your length of paracord and wrap it around your wrist. And what we're going to do is we're going to see where the end meets up with the whole length of paracord. We're going to mark that with our fingers. We're going to let go of the end. So that's our mark. We're going to take our ruler and we're going to measure. So this is where it met around my wrist. We're going to measure that and see how long it is. All right. So we are at 7¼ inches. And what you're going to want to do is add another inch on top of that for your bracelet measurement. The reason we're doing that is because if you did it exactly to your wrist, you're not going to be able to take it on and off easily off of your wrist. And that would be really uncomfortable. So again, our wrist measurement was 7¼ inches. Our bracelet measurement is going to be 8¼ inches. That's just for my wrist. Do what's appropriate for your wrist. We're going to keep those numbers in mind, and we're going to move on to our next part. So our next part is we are going to take our bracelet, our buckle piece here, we are going to go ahead and undo the buckle on this. So now we have two individual buckle pieces. Go ahead and take either one of those buckle pieces, and we are going to bring our two ends of our paracord length together, and we are going to put them through this little hole on our buckle piece. All right, so we've got those here. We're now going to pull up on this length, but we're not going to pull this all the way through the buckle piece. We're going to leave this nice loop here on this other end. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our two ends of our paracord and we're going to put that through this loop. And we're going to pull that up tight. So what this does is this is securing our paracord to our buckle piece. So it's nice and tight now. And our paracord is doubled over like this with our ends mostly meeting. It's okay if it doesn't meet perfectly. Then we're going to take our other buckle piece and we're going to put the ends of our paracord through this other buckle piece sections. There we go. We're going to pull up. All right. So I recommend taking a moment to make sure that you've got your buckle pieces oriented correctly by go ahead and buckling them into place. We're going to look and see, did I twist any of these? Did I misalign any of them? Everything's looking good, so I did all right. Then this is where our bracelet measurement comes in. So we're going to take our ruler here and we are going to measure from one buckle piece to another to get that 8¼ inches. We are going to exclude these prongs, so go ahead and ignore those as if those don't exist. Put our 0 mark, edge of that buckle piece. All right, so when I lay this buckle piece flat, I'm at 10½ inches. That's too big, so I need to slide this on further down until I get to the 8¼ inch mark. Okay, so from this piece, excluding the prongs, to the end of this piece when I lay it down flat, we're now at 8¼ inches. So that means we are good to go. So this is where I recommend bringing your tape in. It's very easy because this is not anchored to this piece. It's very easy for this to slide around. So I recommend go ahead and arrange this so it's oriented so the secured buckle piece is facing towards your body. You go ahead and put some tape on that. I just have this masking tape, works fairly well for me, but use whatever you got. And we're going to very carefully avoid taping our paracord to the table because we need that free moving. We're going to tape this other buckle piece here. All right, so now we're ready to get knotted. Okay, so I've arranged one piece of paracord to either side of the core pieces. These are what we're going to refer to our core center pieces. And we are going to take our red cord and we are going to cross it over the top of our 2 center cords like so, leaving a loop to the side. And we're going to place it so that it's crossing underneath our black cord. So red piece going over the 2 center cords underneath our black cord like so. Then we're going to take our black cord and we are going to go underneath our 2 core center pieces. We're going to go up through that loop that we created with the red. And then we are going to pull that knot tight. This is known as a cobra knot. And that is what this whole thing is made out of. It's a series of cobra knots. All right, so we got our first knot down. Then to create our pattern, we are going to take our red cord again, and we are going to go over the top of our 2 center core pieces and underneath our black cord. So repeating the same steps as before, we're going to take our black cord piece, go underneath our 2 center core pieces and up through that red loop and pull it tight. Okay, so 2 knots down. So when we look at our bracelet, we see that these 2 red loops are on top of the 2 center core pieces. And then we are going to take our black cord, and this is what's going to go on top this time. This time we're alternating with our black cord going on top of our 2 center core pieces, underneath our right cord, and then taking our red cord, sorry, go underneath our core pieces and up through the black loop. Tie that tight. And we're going to repeat the same steps again, where our black cord is going on top of our center core pieces and underneath our red piece, creating that loop on the side. Red cord underneath and up through the loop. Okay, so this is what's creating our pattern for us, is you are going to continue doing this where you start with your red cord pieces crossing over the top. Do that twice, create 2 knots, and then start with your black cord crossing over the top and doing that twice. So you see we've got 2 red cords on top, 2 black cords here on top. So just keep alternating with 2 knots in one color, starting as the original piece, and then 2 knots in another color, and you're gonna see our hearts start coming up. So let's keep going. So we're starting with our red, and through the power of a little movie magic, we're gonna speed through time, and you can see this all come together. All right, so just taking a little pause in what we're doing here. This is how you can see that our alternating color knots are creating our heart pattern. So if I orient it this way, I've got a black heart there with a red center. I've got another black heart here with a red center. If I look the other way around, I've got some red hearts with black centers. So that's what's creating our pattern, so we'll just keep going that way. All right, so we're getting close to the end of our bracelet now. We still got a little bit of room there. I really recommend that when you're doing this, go ahead and knot as much as you can right up to the edge of the buckle piece. Otherwise, it's going to create this loose, unpleasant feeling to your bracelet. So go ahead, make a couple more cobra knots here. Okay, I think I can still fit one more on, so I'm going to try for it. Okay, I think I've reached capacity. So let's go ahead and untape our bracelets here. So I'm pretty happy with how that came out overall, but I still need to seal off my ends so that this whole thing doesn't unravel. So go ahead and take a minute to fit your bracelet just to make sure you're happy with it. So now that I've done that, I'm able to identify what's going to be the back side of my bracelet. So I want to flip this over to the back side, and I'm going to undo my last knot just a little bit, just loosen it up. And then I'm going to bring one of my paracord pieces that was going to be on the front through that loosened knot. This black piece is already on the back side, so once I do that, I'm going to just bring it up tight. So now when you look at this, this is the front of our bracelet. Our 2 pieces are on the back side, so that's where we want them. The next thing we're going to need is our scissors, the lighter, and those needle nose pliers. So we're going to go ahead and cut our paracord pieces pretty short with our scissors. Go ahead and throw those to the side. And I'm going to hold the ends with my needle nose pliers. This allows me to keep my hands nice and far away from the flame that I'm about to use, but it also keeps the flame away from the rest of my paracord bracelet because I don't really want to melt it. Go ahead and get your fire out, and we're going to melt the ends there till they get all nice and melty. Okay, those are about the right amount of meltiness I want. Very quickly, I'm going to let go. And I'm going to mash those into the back side of my bracelet. Okay, I'm gonna give it a minute to cool. Don't touch it with your bare hands again, because that stuff gets very hot. And we are done. So that is secured on the back side where nobody can see it. And you can now give this bracelet to the person who you made it for, or wear it yourself with some pride. For other things you can do, be sure to go to our YouTube channel to check out other videos we have about other paracord activities or other crafts. Be sure to go to mesacountylibraries.org and check out what cool paracord books we have, and so you can keep exploring and keep making. Thanks.